Well, hey, welcome to Ministry Briefing. I'm Matt Steen with Todd Rhodes, as always. And joining us today is Sam Chand. Sam is the author of Cracking Your Church's Culture Code. It's 7 Keys to Unleashing Vision and Inspiration, and it is a phenomenal book. I'm pretty excited that he's re-releasing this. But Sam, welcome. Thanks for taking some time to join us today.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So Sam, let's jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about the book. Why is this a book that every pastor on the face of the planet needs to buy and just and devour right away?
This book was written out of deep frustration. As many people know, I'm a leadership consultant and do leadership stuff. And I would go into churches at their request to do some consultation work. And I think I did some pretty decent work, but then I found out that there was always that missing ingredient. Something was missing. I'd been there with the pastor in his or her office, and they'd say things like, something is missing, that missing link. And then one day, through a lot of different circumstances, I discovered what it was. It was the culture of the organization. And after I started studying that more and being more observant and doing more research on it, I discovered that there's no stronger force in the life of an organization, a church, a for-profit, non-profit, para-church ministry, than the culture. Your culture is stronger than your vision, your mission, your core values, your goals, your objectives, your purpose statements. Your culture is a sustaining effect. And that is why I wrote the book, to talk about culture. And the second thing I wrote about the book was there's not a whole lot of material out there on there. So if somebody listening to me right now wants to Google organizational culture, there'll be pages and pages and pages. But if you want to Google church culture, I'm not talking about black, white, Latino, I'm talking about culture in organization inside the church. There's very little written on it. Yeah. And so those two things about writing on something that not much has been written on and the frustration is what caused me to write the book.
That's a fascinating distinction that you bring up. Can you help us unpack a little bit? What is the difference between organizational culture and a church culture?
A church culture, a lot of times it can be, it's a very broad topic. A church culture would be someone saying, well, we've got 27 countries in our church. Well, that is a kind of a church culture. I understand that. Or we are located in a neighborhood that does not look like us. That might be another kind of a culture. Or it could be like we are in the Northwest where very few people attend church. That's another kind of church culture. Or we are in the heart of the Bible Belt, the buckle of the Bible Belt. That's another kind of church culture. But the culture I'm talking about is, how do you dig into the issues inside the church, issues that really permeate the day-to-day workings, the Monday through Friday of the church? Right. Because we know churches do not grow on Sunday. Churches grow Monday through Friday. And that is why culture becomes important.
Let me push back on you a little bit here, Sam, because I know a ton of senior pastors that have never thought this through. And their hypothesis of leadership is, if I have a really great vision and I share my really great vision with my board of elders or deacons or my board, whatever your leadership structure is, and they buy into that, and I preach about my vision, that my culture will change. So it's more, I'm going to tackle the vision, not the culture. Push back on that a little bit, because I think this is a big deal, because pastors go in and they try to sell their vision and it never takes hold. And you know what? In 3 to 4 years, they're out and they're trying to do the same thing again at another church.
Now, what you just said is exactly why I wrote the book.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's very frustrating, because the same pastor says, I have tried everything. I've got new banners. I got new website. I've redesigned the stage. I got more light, smoke, heat, everything coming out. I've got people in skinny jeans and spike hair. I've changed everything. And I talk about the culture. We sing about the culture. We preach about the culture. But the vision, I'm talking the vision, but nothing is really taking place. So if I could just give a couple examples on that. So if you go to a restaurant, and you order a good filet mignon, a good piece of cow, and The server brings you, so here is my hand is the plate. This is what the server brings you on, and this pen is the steak. And the steak is on the plate, but you look at the plate and you notice that somebody forgot to wash the plate. Well, what does it do to the steak? It immediately devalues the steak. So if this is your culture, is this your vision? Sorry, if the vision is what it is, your vision, and this is the plate is your culture. You're taking a good vision and placing it in a toxic culture. Another example would be, let us say you needed a kidney, and I donated a kidney to you. A good, healthy kidney that the doctor says fits good. But if my body is diseased, there's an infection in my body, there's toxicity in body, that good kidney is going to get rejected. Why? Because there's toxicity in there. And that is why you go through, as a pastor, you go through staff after staff after staff, reorganization after reorganization, vision after vision, new website after new website. And you keep coming back to square one, because the missing ingredient is getting the culture healthy so that the vision will fall into a good, healthy environment.
That's huge. That's thank you for making it that clear, because I think what Todd was saying is quite right. So somebody watches this video and they're sitting there thinking, okay, we've got the meat, but the plate is dirty. What's that first step? What's, besides buying the book, of course, because gotta buy that. But what's the first step that a pastor can take in this culture, figuring out the culture issue?
Two things. Number one, acknowledging that there's toxicity and not live in denial or delusion or a misperception of yourself. Number one. Number two is the most difficult one, is understanding that the culture shift does not start at the bottom. It starts at the top. That is the most difficult thing for a senior leader to accept, that they are the culture setters. That does not mean that it is their fault. It simply means they are responsible for it. There's a difference between it being your fault and you being responsible for it. So when the senior leader says, I'm responsible for setting the culture, then they become the drivers and the creators of the culture, and then it can come down from there. So realizing that something needs to be fixed, and number two, the only person who can fix that is the senior leader. So culture is created at the top and sustained by the rest of them. So you need both of them working together.
Right. Goes back to the old Maxwellism, everything rises and falls on leadership, it sounds like.
Exactly. But it's more about assuming leadership and responsibility for creating the health that is needed so that the rest of things can move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's phenomenal. Sam, thank you so much for taking some time with us this morning. Tell us, how can people find you on the internet?
I'm easy to find. It's just my name, Sam Chand, SAMCHAND, D as in David.com, samchand.com. I'm on Twitter @SamChand. And if you send me something, correspondence to my contact, I'll be back with you as well. I have a lot of free resources on my website, a lot of articles, videos, PowerPoints, teaching outlines, student outlines, teacher outline. It's a lot of free stuff on there if you want to go and play around on my website as well.
Fantastic. Well, the book is called Cracking Your Church's Culture Code. It is re-released today, right? The 6th of March. And it's available on Amazon and pretty much anywhere else that books are sold. I've always wanted to say that. But Sam, thanks again for taking the time to share with our followers today.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Sam. Have a great one.